Parallel to the growth and support of the self-help industry or the cultural demand that can be encapsulated by the phrase, "just be positive," is the equal push for people to go see a therapist at any hint of mental or emotional struggle or unhappiness. Now, I could not find great points of comparison to get a better historical view of mental health treatment in the U.S., either broadly speaking or talk therapy more specifically, but I can give the general increases. The number of U.S. adults who received mental health treatment or counseling in the past year increased from 27.2 million in 2002 to 59.2 million in 2023. Taking a step back, 12.2% of the U.S. population, age 18 through 54, received treatment for emotional problems in 1990 through 1992, and 20.1% in 2001 through 2003. Perhaps the increasing numbers are not so important. Indeed, the primary mental health industry message regarding therapy, a message which you may find your family, friends, or loved ones replicating, is that it is for everyone. Take this, for example, from Health Core Clinic, a medical clinic in Wichita, Kansas. Why everyone can benefit from therapy, from January 27th, 2023. Therapy, also known as counseling therapy or psychotherapy, is not just for individuals who are struggling with mental health issues. In fact, everyone can benefit from therapy in some way. By working with a therapist, individuals can improve their communication skills, manage stress and anxiety, and set and achieve personal goals. A therapist can also help individuals understand and deal with past traumas and build resilience. Counseling provides a safe space for individuals to talk about their thoughts and feelings, and with the help of a therapist, they can work through any challenges they may be facing. Improving your communication skills, learning how to manage stress and anxiety, and setting and achieving personal goals are just a few of the ways that everyone can benefit from therapy. How about this from People Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that serves people with mental illness in Minnesota? Why therapy is for everyone, from April 3rd, 2023. There are many misconceptions about therapy and therapists. In the United States, nearly half of people with mental illness have not gotten professional help. Research has shown that talking to someone and feeling generally understood and validated can alleviate illness, if not cure it completely. This applies to all people, regardless of how severe you consider your symptoms. Life can be difficult, and a therapist can act as a guide. You may be wondering, what can therapy do for me? Therapy is a chance to not only learn more about yourself, but to acquire new skills. There is much to gain from seeing a therapist, including, but not limited to, improved interpersonal skills, greater self-acceptance and self-esteem, better expression of emotions like anger, the ability to manage stress effectively. These are skills that all people can use, regardless of whether they have a severe mental illness. We talked to Amanda Kaiser, M.A., a school-based therapist in our school-length program, to debunk some of the popular misconceptions about therapy. And do pay special attention here. Therapy is just talking. I can do that with family or friends instead. Yes, venting to friends can feel great, but they aren't professionals. They may also be dealing with symptoms of their own, making it more difficult for them to provide sound advice. While venting to friends and family works in some situations, these people are not objective, said Kaiser. Their opinions and advice are biased and based on their relationship with you, and this can also be influenced if they know the other party involved in the situation. It can be helpful to work with someone who is trained and who has dedicated their career to assessing and treating these issues that arise. Here, therapy is not only presented as the solution to the mental health problems you might be facing, but it is also presented as a reliable means of improving yourself. It can only be a help, not a harm. Indeed, based on these descriptions, it would seem almost as if it would be a harm not to go to therapy. As an important aside, also note how the therapist here discourages talking to family and friends in favor of seeking out professional help. Pay attention especially to the switch between talking and venting. The therapist goes as far as to suggest you should not approach family and friends because they might have mental health symptoms themselves. And here I am going to start reading extensive excerpts from a handful of academic papers, starting with the article Iatrogenic Symptoms in Psychotherapy, a theoretical explanation of the potential impacts of labels, language, and belief systems by Charles Boisvert.
Boisvert is the French pronunciation. Bois, vert, meaning green wood. Bois is French for wood. Vert is the color green. Boisvert.
Ph.D. in David Faust, Ph.D. from the Department of Counseling and Educational Psychology, Rhode Island College. The article was published in the American Journal of Psychotherapy in 2002. And if you want the short version, therapy comes with serious potential negative consequences or harms which can impact all potential clients to some degree. Negative consequences or harms that outweigh any benefits, as the authors speculate, for at least 1 in 10 people. Moreover, the therapist may remain unaware of any of these ongoing negative consequences or harms. But moving on, however, I'm going to read at significant length from the article. The core mental health professions, psychiatric nursing, psychiatry, psychology, and social work, embrace noble intentions, namely to understand, predict, and alter behavior such that individuals, societies, and cultures will achieve greater well-being. However, acts of healing and associated treatments inevitably have not only curative but also unwanted effects. Although the mental health professions serve salutary function, they are not immune to deleterious or iatrogenic effects. And to clarify the one term, iatrogenic means related to an illness caused by medical examination or treatment. As Boisvert
from French, Boisvert,
and Faust continue, many of the ideas we offer are generalizations which require further formal investigation, and any one idea may or may not apply to a particular therapist. In general, we hope to raise therapist awareness of the complex process of therapy and its potential to produce undesirable effects. Although iatrogenic symptoms have often been associated with medication side effects or other forms of medical treatment, research shows that iatrogenic symptoms can result from other treatments, for example, psychotherapy. It would be utopian to believe that therapy with any particular patient produces effects that are exclusively positive. Mental health treatment is likely to produce some degree or type of negative effects as well. In the majority of cases, positive treatment effects far outweigh negative effects. Research, however, shows that cases in which negative results predominate may not be that uncommon. Research finds that therapy leads to negative consequences for a considerable number of clients, perhaps 10%. This is a sobering statistic considering the number of people who receive therapy. S.E. Basilian, in an article published in the journal Modern Psychoanalysis, suggests that professionals may have difficulty recognizing negative treatment effects. For example, a therapist may misattribute a client's behavior to a disorder rather than to the treatment, given the absence of a counterfactual or knowledge of what could have happened had one done otherwise. It can be difficult to properly decipher both positive and negative treatment effects. A patient who does well may have done better without the treatment, and a patient who does poorly might have fared much worse without the treatment. Given what seems to be limited attention to negative treatment effects in the literature and difficulty detecting such occurrences, it is certainly possible that Basilian is correct. In a national survey, therapists rated the extent to which research supported a number of assertions about psychotherapy outcome. The majority of respondents were either incorrect about research findings on iatrogenic effects, that is, they tended to underestimate the frequency of negative treatment outcomes, or simply indicated that they were unaware of research in this area. Iatrogenic symptoms may originate from a pathology-oriented belief system through which therapists interpret, reinterpret, or label clients' personal characteristics, life script, or distress. Clients may be socialized into therapy through a language system that emphasizes pejorative labels and suggests that therapists hold specialized knowledge that, in truth, they may or may not possess. Therapists may give clients the implicit or explicit message that something is wrong or flawed with them, which, in turn, may contribute to negative treatment effect. Introducing clients to a new belief system. In presenting their case formulations, therapists may encourage clients to accept a new system of viewing behavior. Therapists may introduce a belief system which suggests that they know more than the client, and possibly even more than the client knows about him/herself. At times, therapists' case formulations may lead to the impression of greater knowledge than actually exists. Some therapists commonly espouse belief systems that incorporate various assumptions about the nature and cause of human suffering and treatments to alleviate such suffering, and I will reference this later. Clients, many of whom are acutely distressed when they seek treatment, may be unduly vulnerable and unconditionally accept the tacit assumptions within this belief system. Some therapists may also hold a deep commitment to the implicit and explicit assumptions of their belief system and overlook alternative views that clients may endorse but that may contradict the therapist's beliefs. As a result, clients may feel flawed, damaged, and inferior, and may consequently experience increased anxiety or distress. There are various ways that therapists may introduce clients to a new system for understanding their behavior. For example, therapists may use nonverbal cues, such as head shakes and eye contact, to reinforce formulations or interpretations that are syntonic with, or rather in harmony with, the therapist's beliefs regarding the cause of clients' distress. Therapists may also interpret and reinterpret clients' behavior within a pathology-oriented framework and use pathological language to communicate, explain, or create this framework. DSM and psychiatric labels. Since its inception in 1952, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, has attempted to identify and describe mental disorders. What has ensued is a lengthy list of psychiatric conditions representing anything from coordination disorder to undifferentiated schizophrenia. The DSM taxonomy, representing putative categories that demarcate boundaries between normality and abnormality, seems to be wide-ranging, making efforts to describe many supposed human aberrations. Psychiatric labels can influence perception powerfully. Categorization or labeling can assist in understanding and organizing phenomena in our complex social world, convey information in a simplified manner, and aid in making predictions. Additionally, psychiatric labels may assist in understanding the causes of behavior, facilitate communication among professionals, and provide a framework through which behavior can be described, explained, and treated. However, to the extent that psychiatric labels facilitate understanding of behavior, they also have the potential to bias judgment. The DSM conceptualizes psychiatric conditions through evoking a language characterized by disease metaphors, suggesting that these conditions are manifestations, at least in part, of some sort of internal pathology. As such, professionals may potentially embrace an ideology that delimits understanding of rich human experiences, in part by being too quick to interpret them as diseases, residing indelibly within the person. And at a later date, I will also address the DSM. As Boisvert and Faust continue, research shows that therapists may too readily make personality attributions about the cause of problems if the client is described as chronic or if the therapist has access to a pre-existing diagnosis. Other studies have found that certain theoretical orientations may lead to over-pathologizing, such as over-attributing greater maladjustment to persons with a psychiatric label compared to those without the label. Research has also suggested that psychiatric labels can contribute to negative self-perceptions and stereotyping, jeopardize social acceptance, and generate negative attitudes in the public. Psychiatric categories are often overextended, and many are still very tentative conceptualizations. Additionally, we believe that categories cannot capture many aspects of human experience and that there is still much work to be done in developing a scientifically sound diagnostic system. Psychiatric language, altering self-perceptions and social roles. Professionals may unwittingly breed negative reactions in clients by actively searching for pathology and at least initially encouraging sick role behavior. Psychiatric language, angering psychopathology and creating secondary gains. Although clients' behavior may be negatively influenced by the expectations that labels and language create, psychiatric descriptors may anchor the client's behavior, legitimize the condition, and ensure access to treatment. This may bring about a tacit, socially sanctioned agreement, such that now only the therapist can truly understand the client and ameliorate his/her suffering. Iatrogenic symptoms may provide clients and therapists with secondary gains that perpetuate potentially negative patterns. By experiencing distress, clients receive attention, and by labeling and treating the distress, therapists feel needed. Strategies to reduce iatrogenic effects. The degree and potential range of negative treatment outcomes may not be readily apparent to therapists whose intentions are clearly aimed at ameliorating clients' distress. However, the presence of negative treatment effects are too pervasive, and the unfortunate consequences that sometimes result from treatment are too powerful to deny or dismiss cavalierly. It seems important for therapists to become aware of the potential for negative treatment effects, consider factors that may contribute to these effects, and try to minimize them. And here I would like to emphasize what the authors are suggesting is that therapists are not even aware that the treatments they are using might be harmful. In addition, I would suggest that therapists might possibly ignore this type of information in the professional literature, seeing it, just as any professional might, as a challenge to their ego or sense of professional importance. I will also be looking at how the therapist overestimates the effectiveness of their treatment later. To continue with the article, maximize clients' support systems. Recognizing and identifying the curative potential in clients' natural support systems may reduce negative treatment effects. This may further serve to normalize many universal human experiences and minimize tendencies for clients and therapists to overvalue the therapy relationship. Also, it may help reduce dependency, an important goal if one is to maximize treatment effects that can occur during treatment by assisting the client in transitioning back into the world of relationships that exists outside of therapy. Moreover, it may also demystify some of the tacit assumptions of therapy relationships, such as professionals hold unique knowledge and abilities to resolve clients' problems, and clients necessarily need professional treatment to get better. Practice new mental habits derived from decision theory. Therapists could invoke the following when formulating a judgment about a client. A. For each time one concludes that a problem requires treatment, one might generate reasons to believe that the problem may resolve on its own or may respond to other approaches, such as social supports. B. For each act of classifying a behavior as pathological, one might search for a more normalizing expectation, such as an angry outburst may not be due to an impulse control disorder, but to intolerable stress. And C. For each time one feels the need to convince the client about the presence of some negative characteristic, one might point out some less recognized strength or positive attribute, even at the beginning of treatment when initial formulations are being made. It may also be helpful to consider the possibility, and in some cases the probability, that some clients may simply be in a difficult situation that will resolve itself in time and thus may not require therapy, and that the great bulk of a person's essence and life experience is not captured by a psychiatric label and is not related to pathology. To wrap up for the moment, the bottom line is that therapy is no panacea or perfect help. It has serious potential downsides which can impact all potential clients to some degree, although the benefits might outweigh the disadvantages or harms. The problem is that the therapists themselves may not understand the full repercussions of their treatment on their client, and for a significant number of people, potentially 1 in 10, the harms significantly outweigh the benefits. And the likelihood is any push you receive to go to therapy will not be accompanied by this type of information and basic reality. Just look at the rosy depictions provided by the 2 posts I began with, why everyone can benefit from therapy and why therapy is for everyone. They both perfectly encapsulate the types of problems Boisvert and Faust discuss. Put more directly, the reality that therapy can come with any negative consequences is ignored in any persuasion to try to sit you down with the therapist. And more on that next time. I hope to see you there.